I have a question. This might
Yes.
be this might be a large topic. We were talking earlier, we were having a discussion about innovations and inventions of man that sometimes go awry, and when that happens and how. I didn't know if you had any conversations with any inventors, like maybe, I don't know, Oppenheimer or somebody that felt like their invention got uh, taken out of context or used in a bad way, or if anybody have inside had anything to say about that. Like, where's the point where we stop and say, okay, we're not using this for everyone's benefit. That was an interesting topic to me.
Dated material here, but I'd like to talk about that, my dear.
Okay.
This is Thomas. And of course, I was Thomas Edison. And I've had different lifetimes where I was fascinated by things such as electricity. Steph will tell you that in my lifetime, as Thomas Jefferson, I was fascinated by the idea of the electric light bulb. And so in my next lifetime, it was already a desire, you see, because we can carry these thoughts and ideas from one lifetime to another. And she also told you, I believe, about a story back in the Dark Ages in or around near Baghdad, you might say, where Steve was working on an electrical light bulb in a cave where he had to do it secretly because of the dark energy of the time when they would fry you for being a demon, you see, if you dared to steal any of the thunder of the gods. And these concepts did not come to fruition. However, they are deeply embedded in the human consciousness, you see, because in the time of the Anunnaki, we already had systems of lighting that were powered by a electrical circuit, you see, because the Anunnaki were very familiar with the concepts of the oh sorry, bay window. In other words, they understood that when you look out at the world and you see how it works, you can look at lightning, for example, and other aspects of electrical phenomena, and you can say, well, that's interesting today. That's interesting today. How does that fish do that today? And then you begin to explore it and you begin to say, well, what if we did this? What if we did that? What if we did the other? And that's okay. That's okay. There's no problem with that. However, when you do not trust on reality, then you can lose your way. The Anunnaki lost their way because they did not trust on reality. They didn't say, I love you. They just said, well, we're smarter than you. And they went into space to prove they were smarter than all the other inhabitants of Nibiru who died of hunger and disease as the planet began to cease. The planets began to cease their functioning, you see, as a good sandbox for their inhabitants. And so the populations of Nibiru died away, and the Anunnaki went away and said how smart we are. aren't we? We're very smart because we figured out how to save ourselves. And now let's go find another planet to destroy. Only they didn't find another planet till they came back to Earth. That entranced them so, because enough time had passed that the Earth was flourishing at that time. And they said, well, we can move here, but then they said, no, we can't. And you know why they couldn't live on Earth? They could not live on Earth because their spaceship wouldn't let them, because their spaceship controlled them, you see. This is a long, dark story of how you get tethered to your creations. And they got tethered to their creation, you see, until their creation owned them. And so this happens on Earth today, where you become tethered to your creations and your creations own you. So it wouldn't be such a problem if you created plastic today and you said, hey, look at this. This is really neat. Let's use this. But you become tethered to your creation, you see, and the people who created it had to produce more and more and more and more. And everybody had to use more and more and more. And they had to create more and more and more until their oceans were full of it. And the human bodies even are full of it. Because, of course, they're finding microplastics everywhere. And so it's not as dramatic as the atomic bomb, of course, in its creation, but it is even more destructive in its capacity to destroy the sandbox, you see, because it is so simple in its ability to infiltrate the world you see. And people say, well, it's harmless, you see, it's just plastic. But what they couldn't do, you see, was escape from the fake reality that said, I hate you. And so, in order to be better than everybody else, they had to produce more and more and more and more and more, make more money, be more. We have to sell more of this. We have to convince people that they need to go around and sell it door to door. We have to make them see how much easier it'll make their life be until in such a short period, you see, less than 100 years, much less than 100 years, they have destroyed their own planet, you see. And it's the same with a lot of other things, cars, pulling resources out of the ground. We got to get more gold. We got to get more gold because the more gold we get, the richer we get. So we can expire and be cast in gold, you see, and become the golden idol. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? The inability to trust on God energy and to say, I will receive what I give. I will receive what I give. If I like to make plastic, it's fun. I'll just give it to you. And you'll say, thank you. I appreciate this. I will treasure it. I will keep this plastic in my house and I will use it for all of my life because it has a long shelf life. And I'll give it to my children, you see, and they can use it too. But that wouldn't satisfy you if you had to get instead of give. You see, are you understanding the difference? And so the trust on creating atomic energy or AI, for example, which have the potential to devastate this world, is the trust on more, 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 more. We got to have more weapons, you see. so that we have more than the other guy. We got to have more companies that trust on AI, you see. We have to create more programs that will be better than the other guy. More. We have to do more until we have filled our own soul with trash. It's just trash when you have more than you need. It is trash. Don't take more than you need. God supplies all your needs. Now I ask you, does this answer your question, Amy?
Yes, very well.
Thank you. Any more questions?
I have one. I am very fascinated by the human body. I don't think if I live so many lives, I'll ever get to know or understand the geometry of the human body. So my question is probably to God or anybody who considers it's about regeneration of the tissues. So when we cut our hands, on a smaller scale, it regenerates. I'm wondering, do we have the ability for, say, we lose a tooth, for that to regenerate on its own without getting any implants?
Well, that depends on you. Because you are a part of God energy. And so, what is it you're willing to give to God to help you, help God to get a new point of view? What would you give God if you wanted to give God what you would receive, you see?
What can I give God?
Yeah, what would you give God? If you wanted to regenerate a tooth, what would you give to God?
The lost tooth?
A what?
The lost tooth?
Love tooth?
The lost tooth.
Oh, the lost tooth. Well, my dear, God is everywhere. And so what you give, you will receive. Does that help you to unravel this mystery?
Not really.
Think about somebody you know who has lost a tooth because it was decayed or it got knocked out. Can you think of somebody like that?
Yes, me?
Think of somebody else besides you. Can you
Well,
think of
I
anybody
can
else
think of
besides you?
my children when they were like 6 or 7 years old.
It got knocked out?
No, they lost it. It just came out, and it regrew.
Did they have to have it pulled because it was decayed?
No. It was just a
Okay,
natural
and
process of,
they got another tooth, didn't they?
yes.
Okay. So your children got another tooth, they lost a tooth, and they got a tooth. So that's pretty simple, right?
It looked simple at that age.
But when your tooth is decayed, then what?
It's pulled out.
And then what?
Then
How
you
do you
have,
feel about that? How do you feel about that?
or you get an implant, or you just have a hole in it.
Well, you feel guilty. You feel guilty that your tooth is decayed, right?
Yes,
How did your tooth get decayed so badly that it had to be pulled?
that is the question.
For most people, it's because they say, well, I ate the wrong stuff, right?
That's one reason.
I didn't take care of my teeth. I didn't brush them, etc. So what's another reason why you would have your tooth pulled because it's decayed?
Can't think of one right now.
Exactly. The only one you can think of, or at least we can think of here, unless somebody else has another suggestion, is that you didn't eat the right stuff and you didn't take care of them, right? Some people who are meth users or something may find out that it decays their tooth. So they ate the wrong stuff, didn't they? Right?
Yes.
And so if you lose a tooth because it decayed, who's at fault?
Well, I am naturally responsible for that. But
You're not responsible for it. How do you think you lost the tooth? How did you lose your tooth?
It was pulled out.
Your tooth, somebody pulled out a healthy tooth out of your mouth?
No, it was painful.
Why was it painful?
It became loose.
What?
It became loose.
How did it become loose?
It was infected.
How did it get infected?
Probably because I ate the wrong thing.
Okay, took us a long time to get there, Winnie. But the bottom line is that you did something to cause your tooth to have to be pulled, right?
Right.
So you play the game of blame and shame. Even though you don't want to admit it, that's actually the biggest abscess you ever saw, is that you hide your blame and shame. You don't admit it.
Hmm.
So it's an abscess in your soul. Do you understand this?
Yes, I understand the game of shame and blame, but I am
Right.
I'm trying to relate it to the problem.
Well, why do you blame yourself? And let's assume you do blame yourself because we think you do, but we think you're trying to hide it from yourself. Why do you blame yourself for having lost a tooth, for having eaten the wrong stuff? Who told you what you had to eat?
My parents,
Sorry?
my parents,
Yes, and your parents told you if you eat this, it's not going to be good for you, right? Did your parents tell you that?
they said, eat this, don't eat that.
Right. But why do you think they told you not to eat this and that? You think it was just like opening up the Bible and the Bible says you can't say fuck. And so if you say fuck, you're going to go to hell. If you eat the wrong food, you're going to lose a tooth, honey, and that's going to be hell for you. Right?
Right.
And so you have this abscess in your soul. It's in your soul. Do you understand that? The tooth is trying to tell you there's something wrong in your soul. Do you understand that?
I do now. How do I get
Okay.
rid of it?
Well, let's take it one step at a time. You're not going to get rid of the guilt and shame by just getting another tooth. Well, you can get a tooth, but it won't change the abscess in your soul. So, did you love what you ate, even though your parents said you couldn't have it?
I
Or
did.
did you feel guilty? Guilty
I
little
loved it.
pleasures.
I loved it. I loved what I
Okay.
ate.
So you loved what you ate and you said, this is good for me because I
Yep.
love it, you see, because love is good for me. So how did you lose your tooth? It wasn't because of what you ate then, right? Because you loved it and it was good for you, right?
Right.
Wrong. Your parents told you not to eat this and not to eat that, and you believed them, right? Or did you say, well, fuck you, I don't have to listen to you? What did you
I
do when your
believe
parents told you that? What?
I believed them when they were the ones providing the stuff that I ate.
That's right. You believed them. And you didn't grow up and say, well, my parents were full of shit. This stuff's really good for me. I got to eat it. Did you?
I might have thought that subconsciously, but not consciously. I just ate what I wanted.
Okay. Well, that's why it's an abscess, you see, because it's hidden from you. And so you lose a tooth and you say, what's going on here? And you say, well, there's an abscess in my soul energy. If you had kids, Winnie, would you feed them candy and pop and not worry if they ate anything that what people consider healthy?
I didn't really mind what they ate. I just told them to make sure to brush their teeth.
Okay, so you gave them candy and pop for supper or whatever, because that's what they wanted, right?
Not for supper, for snacks.
Okay. And did any of your children have any trouble with food, with teeth? They ever have any fillings or anything?
Yes.
And why do you think they thought they had to have a filling for their tooth?
Well, at that time I didn't know, but now I do.
Well, no, wait a minute. Why did they think?
For what?
Did the
Oh,
dentist say to them, well, you got to eat good food, honey, and you got to brush your teeth?
the dentist said, do not eat sugar and brush your teeth twice a day and after
Okay,
meals.
so did they believe the dentist?
I don't know if they believe to that is or not.
What do you think? Would you have believed the dentist if you're a kid and the dentist told you that? You're fighting us here, Winnie. You're fighting us. You've got to get to the heart of this because it's your question and therefore your solution.
I'm trying to get to the heart of it. As
Well, the
as a
heart of it
kid,
is that you feel guilt and shame. When you go to the dentist, you probably didn't say, hey, I've been eating all the wrong shit. And so I'm the one that has to pay for it. You're going to have to pull this tooth. So thank you very much. I love you for taking my tooth. And now I see that I just ate all the wrong stuff throughout my life. Maybe I loved it. And I said, well, this is really good for me. I love this candy. But if I eat it, it's going to rot my teeth. Let's ask the rest of you in this group. If your tooth rotted, would you say to yourself, well, it's because I ate the wrong crap? How many of you would say that? All right, Laura, what about you, Amy? You would say it too. And would you feel guilty about the fact that you didn't control yourself a little bit better? Or not?
you're muted.
I know I can say that. Honestly, this is me, Steph. I can say, hey, at times I ate the wrong crap. Or, some of it I may have inherited from my parents, my teeth issues, but a lot of it was on me. And of course, when I was young, we didn't get a lot of calcium in our diet from milk and stuff because of where we lived. But still, a lot of it is on me. I could have treated my teeth a lot better. I could have gone to the dentist and had them taken care of right away instead of letting it get so bad, et cetera, et cetera. Any of you ever feel like that?
I'm just confused.
Yes. What?
I'm confused. Is it about what we ate or is it about how we felt about what we ate?
Both.
Second one.
You know, what did you believe? It's about what you believed.
I
If you
enjoyed eating
believed,
the candy. I enjoyed eating the candy.
okay, so you believed that the candy would be fine to eat it.
Tasted great.
Okay, so you believed that the candy was fine and it would not bother your teeth.
I wasn't thinking of my teeth when I was eating the candy.
Okay, but when you weren't eating it, did you think about it and say, hey, this candy might not be so great for me?
I only thought about that when I went to the dentist.
Okay, and then why would you care? Why would you say, I don't know what happened to my teeth? I don't believe you, dentist, if you say to me that it's because of what I ate. I trust that it's all because of the devil. The devil made my tooth rot, right? Or what do you think made your teeth rot?
Well, I just felt responsible because it was, I mean, the teeth, they were in my mouth and I used them to eat. I just felt I must have done something wrong.
Exactly. You must have done something wrong. It's taken us a long time to get you there, but you must have done something wrong to lose your tooth, right? And God said, honey, you did. I had to clobber you over the head a few times to get you to figure it out. You have an abscess in your soul. You get it now? And what is the abscess in your soul?
Oh, the idea or the feeling of shame and blame.
Well, it could be a lot of things.
Okay.
Did you ever look at another person and say, well, they're not taking very good care of their teeth, or their teeth are not as good as mine, or whatever?
No, I did the reverse. I never thought I had great teeth, so I admired a lot of people with nice set of teeth.
Okay. And why did you think they had such good teeth and you didn't have good teeth?
Because every time I went to the dentist, there was a problem with my teeth.
Okay. When was the first time you went to the dentist and had a problem with your teeth?
A long time ago.
Well, you're still a child.
Now, I was my early 20s, I think.
Okay. So at least since your early 20s, you have felt like you had bad teeth, right? And other people had better teeth, so they were better than you. God favored them.
I didn't think that far. I just
There are
admired their teeth.
there are so many things that could reflect upon this, Winnie, that it would take a lot of energy to pull it out of you. Do you understand? To pull it out of you, to get to the root cause. The root cause. You get it? And so God sometimes says, well, I need to get through to you that you're not trusting on me, dear. That you're trusting on the fake reality. You're trusting on the shadows on the wall.
Hmm.
And I've got to get through to you that you need to trust on the light, you see? And so when something happens to you and you say, well, I hate this today, God, I hate this today. And then God says, well, honey, what is it you hate and what is it you love about it? And maybe for each person it will differ. Maybe you'll say, well, I love the fact that it makes me stop and think about how I didn't stop and say, I don't believe that today. I don't believe that today. I don't have to do it your way. Or maybe you like it because it says, well, they always told me that this would be bad for my teeth, and now it's bad for my teeth. So I know they were telling me the truth. So good for mom and dad. They told me the truth. I didn't believe them, so I should have trusted them more. Or it could be that you would say, every time I took a bite of that candy bar, I felt a little bit of guilt, ruining my teeth, adding pounds on. I wasn't healthy, you see. Here I would tell other people to do this and try to take care of them, and here I wasn't taking care of myself. And that did become part of your soul configuration, you see. You can't stop it. You cannot stop the continual reconfiguration of your soul energy. But when it gets so far out of whack, it will begin to give you a message. And you will say, wow, look at all that plastic in the sea today. It's out of whack. It's out of whack. Doesn't matter if it is personal to you in your physical form or in your physical world, you see? And it's all a message to come back to God and say, hey, I was trying to get more than I gave. I was trying to get more than I gave. I was trying to be better, you see, than everybody else. Or I felt like I was worse than everybody else and I had to figure out another way to get better than them. Or I allowed them to force me to eat the toxic stew. And look what it did to my teeth, you see. Now, this is a very important issue, and we're not trying to make light of it, because the ability of the body, the physical form, to regenerate in a way that will say, hey, I got it figured out today, I got it figured out today, is very, very, very powerful. But you have to figure it out first, because there's no reason the body can't give you another tooth if a tooth gets knocked out. But if you lose a tooth because you did something you shouldn't do, naughty you, then God says, well, screw you. Because what you gave me, you see, is a lot of guilt and shame. And so I'm just going to heap it back on you. Just going to heap it back on you. And every time you think about that lost tooth, you'll think about what you gave to me, which was a lot of blame and shame. And now I'm giving it back to you. So if you give what you want to receive when you eat, just say, what is it I want to give to you? What do I want to give to you to eat? Would you give all that candy and soda and whatever to somebody else to eat if you had a choice of what to give them?
Yes.
You would? All right. Well, then it must be something different for you. However, for most parents, they say, well, I'm not going to give you a lot of sugar and candy. And I'm not going to give you, Winnie, a lot of sugar and candy. Steph would say that. If I was going to give you a good meal, I would give something that I thought was healthy for you because I love you. I wouldn't say, here, come to supper at my house and I'll give you a bunch of chocolate bars and some soda pop and have a good day. I hope you enjoy the meal. How many of you would do that if you invited somebody to your house? Would you do that, Winnie? Say, Stephanie, come on over for dinner and I got a bunch of candy for you.
No, I wouldn't do that because I don't do candy and pops now. Of course, I did that when I was younger, but I wouldn't do that now.
Well, you're waffling on us. You're waffling back and forth. Why wouldn't you do it now?
I didn't
Since
understand
you
the
love it,
question.
since you love it so much and you don't think it's harmful, why wouldn't you give it to your children and your friends?
I didn't understand the question.
Would you invite Stephanie over for dinner and say, here, Steph, I have some hard candy for you and some soda pop, and I hope you enjoy it because I love it. I used to eat all this stuff and I loved it. So I think you'll love it too. Would you do that?
No, I will not. I would give her dinner if I invited her for dinner. If she
What
wanted
would you give her for
candy,
dinner? What would you give her for dinner?
food.
Well, candy and pop is food, right? You loved it and you ate it.
I loved it for snacks.
Well, you're really avoiding the issue. And so we're just going to leave it there. We're going to leave it there because you don't want to admit that you have a lot of guilt and shame over this issue. Because what you gave to another was not what you wanted to receive, because what you gave to God is what you will receive. And you gave God a lot of shame and you gave him a lot of blame. Because who's to blame when your tooth gets pulled out? Your tooth is rotted and you got a pain. Who do you turn to and say, God, save me, please help me, make it better, right? Isn't that what you did? God, help me, help me, help me. And so if God is the one that can help you, then God must be the one who causes you all the pain and suffering too, right?
I didn't think about it that way.
What way did you think about it? Well, actually, we're going to stop here because it's a little hard. It's like pulling teeth to get you to
I've lost two already.
figure this out. Is anybody else getting a clue?
Yeah, it's a belief that's instilled in you as a child and by parents who seem very knowledgeable. And then you go on in life and then you get other ideas and maybe different points of view. But that underlying foundation is still kind of there, even though you don't think that you believe in it anymore or you think you've moved on. It's still to unearth that, I think, is a lot. So it's still
Yes.
there, even though you don't know it. Like I want to eat candy. I don't, mom and dad aren't watching me now. I'll eat it now. It won't hurt me. I just have a little bit. But the belief is still ingrained.
Mhm.
Or like it's like if you sneak a brownie behind the refrigerator door, like nobody can see me, so I'm not gonna put on a pound this way
Right.
because you're hiding behind the door.
Right.
I'll hide from God.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll hide from my body. My body won't know I ate this brownie, this piece of candy.
Shh, don't tell.
Well, here's another way to look at it. Okay, another perspective on it. It's another point of view. Have you ever heard this saying, what you resist persists?
Yes.
You ever heard the saying, guilty pleasures?
Mm,
So when you take that candy and you hide behind the door, so mom and dad don't know it, that you're eating it, and you can't hide from God because they told you it's true. So you can't hide from God because God can still see you eating it, right? And you feel so guilty that you are addicted to the guilt, you see. You are addicted to the feeling of doing something you're not supposed to do, right?
mm.
You ever figure that one out? I can do this because it's a way of giving my parents the finger, so to speak. I can cheat on my wife and not tell her about it because I was told I was not supposed to do that. So I'll just hide it, you see. But I'll do it anyway because it makes me feel powerful, that I'm powerful enough to do what I'm not supposed to do, right? There's something about it that makes it more attractive. So, Steph, tell your story about your kids and the candy, right? So I was very careful with my kids when they were little. We ate very little sugar, and I didn't either. And so if I did give them anything, it would usually be in context where they had to eat something really healthy too. Like I might make them some donuts that had a little bit of sugar in them, but they had to eat some broccoli too. And so they didn't get a lot of sugar. And they weren't around people that fed them a lot of sugar, right? Boy, once they got free to eat sugar, like they had great teeth, beautiful teeth, until they were on their own. And then it was like, oh my God, I sent you guys out into the world with beautiful teeth, and look what you've done to them.
Mhm.
You see? And so the addictions that we have are often our only source of rebellion, you see. They're our only way to say fuck you to the schools, the parents, the preachers, etc., the news. I don't believe you that I'm going to go to hell if I eat some sugar or cheat on my wife or cheat on my income tax. And ultimately, what it means is I don't believe in God. I don't believe that God can see me do this because there's no God to see me do this, you see. He's in the bottle on the shelf in the church, and he can't see what I'm doing from there. So I'll just keep doing it, but I'll feel guilty about it because I can never be sure. I can never be sure he won't come back and get me. And so if my tooth rots and it has to be pulled, then I feel really guilty because I was trying to hide from God and maybe he saw me after all. Since my tooth is rotted out, then maybe my body actually knew about it. And I wasn't able to hide behind the closet door and fool my body that I wasn't eating it. You see? I couldn't eat all that cake and hide it from my body, you see. My body was aware. And reality, you see, is such a mixture of your thoughts and the feedback that you get from your thoughts that it's pretty hard to sort it out. But the more entrenched it gets in the human psyche, the more it has a power over the individual, you see. So sometimes people will say, well, I healed myself of this or that or the other. And you say, well, how'd you do that? I want to do that too. And usually it has to do with them untethering themselves from the mass consciousness, you might say, and saying, I don't have to play it that way. I don't have to play it that way. And I don't have to explain to you what I'm doing. I don't have to play it your way, and I don't have to answer to you. And it is very, very complex. And so we say to you, the best way to handle it is to say, I love you. I love my tooth. I love the experience of my tooth rotting out and having to be pulled. Nothing wrong with it because I'm an eternal soul and nothing can defeat me, you see. And so, God, I just want to tell you that thank you for that lesson today. And I'd rather not have that happen again. I'd rather just be happy every day and say, what a beautiful day. And I love you. And if I do have to get my tooth pulled, well, maybe I can say, bless the dentist today that he was there. And I didn't have to go to the horse doctor and have him pull it out with some pliers, you see. Thank God. Thank God. And so just appreciate what you got and you'll get more of it. You'll get more of what you appreciate because what you're really doing is you're giving God appreciation instead of blame and shame. Thank you, God, for this day. Thank you for this body. Thank you for the fact that it served me so well for so long. Thank you that I can count on you and I can just come and talk to you and say, I don't really like this today. I don't really like that my parents told me I can't eat candy when I was 3. And I don't understand it. Do you think that you could help me to sort it all out today so I don't feel so sad that they told me that I couldn't eat candy and I disobeyed them, you see. I disobeyed my own parents who I love very much. How much do you think that grates on your soul? And you're so young and you came from heaven and you're so pure. And you don't listen to your parents when they're trying to do something for you because they love you. It has nothing to do with the food, people. It has to do with your soul energy. Are you getting this today?
Yes.
But the manifestation that you see is the only way the soul has to reveal to you what it thinks you see. It's the only way that it can get through to you, either in your physical body or in the world around you. And so really, it's just a matter of the fact that you are not clear on who you are, what you are, and your power, you see. And really, it's the same thing as the question Amy brought up. When you are filling the world full of plastic because you got to do more, 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 make more money, sell more, 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 you feel ashamed and guilty because you know that what you're doing is not giving what you want to receive. What you want to receive is a simple life where you say, hey, God, what a beautiful day. I love you. And what you get instead is a toxic stew because everybody you know is trusting on you to be as bad as they are or worse. You see? You get this?
Mhm.
All right, we've been at this, started a little late, but we've been at it for a half hour. Anybody have any last questions before we close up for today? And feel free to ask them. If anybody can't stay, they can leave. Well, it's been a good day. And I'm here to say that I love you today. I'm asking who was talking to us about the tooth problem. Michael was here today to talk about it
Thank you, Michael.
because he loves you true. And he wants you to know that he's here to take care of you. And even though he had to go away to work with some others for a few days, he wants you to know that when he plays with you, he gets a big smile on his face. And he says, this is one of the best days of all because all they do is say to me, hey, we love to play with you. We love to play with you, Michael. You make us feel good inside. And I say, well, when you're happy, I'm happy. When you have a happy glow, I get a happy glow. Because when we love each other, you see, we always want others to be happy. We want them to be happy. And then that makes us happy. And so when we're happy, then they get happy and it appreciates, you see. It's like money in the bank that keeps appreciating. We keep getting happier and happier until we have such a warm glow. We say, hey, somebody say something sad today. So we can come down a bit from our happy glow. And then somebody will say, well, I have something sad to say because I just lost a tooth today. And we say, well, I love you. Let's talk about that for a while. And we'll find the sad parts inside of us and we'll say, well, it was good to get that out today. It was good to get that out today. And now I can get the happy glow again. So thank you for being my friends. And I hope this suspends any disbelief in me that I'm not capable of being free of anxiety about humanity, because I know that everyone below is capable of understanding this. You just got to take a little time to think about it, people. You're listening to this out there and you figured it out, good for you. If you haven't, just ask a question or two and we'll be happy to share. I am Michael the Archangel, and I am here because I can hear the heartbeat of those who trust on me. And I trust on them, you see, because it is the beat of the drum that will come to fruition when the symphony begins to play and the angels sing and say, finally, 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 they figured it out. Finally, they figured it out that all they have to do is give to God what they want God to give to you. All right, guys. All right. Well, thank you all who have tuned in to listen to this. And if you have any tooth problems, let's hope that, this helps you to figure them out and to be happy no matter what. So anybody else have anything to say to the audience if they tune in? Sorry, I got to drink a lot because my mouth gets dry when I'm talking so much. And so have a good day, everybody. Have a good day.
Yeah, just want to say, please just like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.
All right.